What's going on, people? Face the red. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about, right? Obviously, it's transfer season right now. A lot of transfers going through. The big two that have happened this season so far, I'd say, and the ones that have stimulated the most debate is the Manchester United signing of Romelu Lukaku, Chelsea signing of Alvaro Morata. Now, there's been a lot of comparison between the two, obviously, because it seems that Chelsea were after, or Chelsea's first choice was Lukaku, and United's appeared to be Morata, but that's a bit less clear cut. But we know Chelsea wanted Lukaku first because they bid for Lukaku first. Once they saw that weird bid for him out of nowhere, we were in talks with Real Madrid for Morata, but it seems that they were asking for too much, and we decided to then move for Lukaku. That's what it looks like. However, we were willing to pay 75 million for Lukaku, but it doesn't appear that we were willing to pay that for Morata. So maybe that tells you that we did rate Lukaku higher. Maybe we thought we could get a better deal for Morata, and maybe that was why we didn't go with him. Who knows? But either way, we got Lukaku. They ended up with Morata. It seems that was a second option for them, or maybe even third or fourth, because there were links with Aubameyang and Aguero. Or maybe they put feelers out for those two and they were debunked and said, no, we're not selling these players. So they kind of settled for Morata. There's been a lot of talk about it, and I think there were comments that were made, but the one that caught everyone's eye was, I first read it on the BBC website when Morata was signed, and it was from a European football journalist, Mina Rzouki. Some of the comments she made were kind of a bit surprising, to be honest. I'm gonna go through it though. Obviously, this might take a while, man. You know how I am. I don't structure what I say. I just say whatever, and I look at things on the spot. Whatever comes out, comes out. So I haven't thought too deeply about this, but I'm not gonna read out what was on the BBC website. I found the actual video. I think it's on the BBC website. There's a clip from BBC Radio 5 Live Sport, and it's her actually saying what she said. The BBC's quote was actually a bit shorter than what she said. She said more. So I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to put it up because I think they'll probably take it down and the video will get taken down. So I'm going to watch it and tell you word for word what she's saying, because there's text as well, so I can see what she's saying. So let me just watch it quickly, see what she's saying. So basically it started and she said, any day of the week, if you offered me the choice between Morata or Lukaku, I would not even think about it. I would pay 20 or 30 million more if I had to, and I would bring in Morata. But that is always because I will always prefer an intelligent player in my team. Even if he does not score as many goals, even if he doesn't do whatever he needs to do, even if he doesn't score as many goals, even if he doesn't do whatever he needs to do, if he is more intelligent, then he can be molded quicker. He can do what he needs to do. And Morata has Champions League experience. He was second top goal scorer for Real Madrid, despite not starting basically. He has done it at Juventus. He has done it at Real Madrid. He has the pace. He's intelligent. He links up play. He can be a counter-attacking threat. For me, yes, he doesn't perhaps have what Lukaku has, like complete drive and everything else. but he is young, and what worries me about Lukaku is sometimes I'm not sure about his movement, if it's that intelligent. Secondly, he has done so well so quickly, so I feel it's a bit of a Rooney, where you think, what if he has sort of ruined his body, and how much more time does he have? Okay. Sorry, that I know I was reading it a bit slow, but I was watching it, playing it, and like transcribing it back to you, so I couldn't flow with it as well as I wanted to. But yeah, I mean, let's break down what she said. So any day of the week, if you offered me the choice between Morata or Lukaku, I would not even think about it. I would pay 20 or 30 million more if I had to, and I would bring in Morata. That's a big statement. Let's be honest. That's a big statement. You know, to say you would pay 20 or 30 million more, and the fact that you'll say I wouldn't even think about it, tells me you don't rate Lukaku. That's basically, let's be honest with you. Let's be honest. That's basically what it seems like. The fact that she doesn't even have to think about it. Most people would, you know, it's a good debate because they're both, you know, considered good players, good strikers, similar age, similar height, you know, whatnot. It's seen as a good debate, but she wouldn't even have to think about it. She's saying she would pay 20 or 30 million more if she had to bring in Morata. So if Lukaku was 75 million, she would pay 105 for Morata. Then again, I'm not saying I guess she'd have to, because she'd say 30 million more if Lukaku's that. If you want Morata, you'd have to pay that 105. Okay, so basically she rates Morata much higher than Lukaku, and she's quite dismissive about Lukaku in that statement. She wouldn't even think about it. The tone as well, because obviously I'm watching it, so I'm seeing the tone she said it. Quite dismissive of Lukaku, to be honest. But you know, it's her opinion. Let's see what else she says. But that is always because I will always prefer an intelligent player in my team. So obviously she thinks Lukaku isn't intelligent, and Morata is intelligent. What she's basing that on, I'm actually not sure. I don't know what she's basing that on. To deem a player not intelligent, you'd need some sort of evidence. You know, what is it about him that you consider not intelligent? There's been debates about what she means, you know, as well. I know, like, some people have thought, is she saying he's not intelligent as in, you know, he's got no brains or he's not smart? Or is it in the footballing sense? It appears she means it in the footballing sense. So in the footballing sense, how you've come to the conclusion that Lukaku is not intelligent, I don't really know where that's come from, to be honest. If we look at his career, he's been in the Premier League for at least 5 seasons. He has improved. He's definitely improved. And to improve, you've got to be somewhat intelligent. Otherwise, you're not going to improve as a player. You're just going to stay stagnant or even decline. To improve, you've got to be intelligent. You've got to be analytical about yourself. You've got to analyze your game. You've got to be willing to improve. He's definitely improved. If we look at Lukaku when he was at Chelsea, obviously as a young player, you know, he's definitely honed his talent, his skills. He was a lot more raw back then. His link-up play is better than it was. He can hold the ball up better than he used to. His first touch at times has been considered questionable, but I believe he's improved. And we have to look at last season. He improved massively last season. Let's be honest. Last season, he definitely took it up a notch. And since he's been at Everton, his first season, I think with his loan season at Everton, he was a threat, but he was not outstanding. And even I thought, is Lukaku going to take it to the next level? he's a good player, but I considered him like a Benteke on that kind of level at the time. He's like, who's better at the two? But Lukaku has stepped it up, and Benteke's career is probably like kind of been the same, or maybe even declined a bit. But anyway, it's not about Benteke. I'm going off topic. But Lukaku, he's improved. So to improve, you need an element of intelligence there. Morata, in his career, I mean, he had a good season last year. He didn't play as much as obviously he wanted to, but he did score goals. I think he scored like 15 and 26 or something like that. Like, you know, like there was quite a few sub appearances as well. So, you know, he did well last season despite having minimal playing time. But, you know, he's not a regular for Real Madrid. He wasn't a regular. So why could he not break into that team? I know it's a difficult team to break into, but some people might argue Benzema is a good player, but he's not a world like elite, like top 2 striker where you think, oh, you know, he's not going to be able to dislodge Benzema. Benzema's very good. I rate him highly, actually, higher than most people, but you could argue that he's a player that if you are an exceptional player, you could dislodge him. Morata wasn't able to dislodge him. Maybe, you know, if he's so intelligent, why did he not, you know, I don't know, like step it up? And, you know, he's meant to have great movement and whatnot, and I don't know, like, why could he not dislodge Benzema? Difficult one. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying that Morata's not intelligent. He might be intelligent, but it's very vague when you're trying to explain why another player is more intelligent than another player. It's, how do you measure that, you know? And I don't know, what is there to say that Lukaku isn't intelligent and Morata is? I don't know. It's one of those it's a statement that's been made, but you need to elaborate when you make those kind of statements because it can come across a certain way, you know what I'm saying? And there's no obvious like indication to say that one is more intelligent than the other. So to say that so brazenly and so like bluntly, what made you say that? She should have elaborated on that, but she didn't. It is what it is. So yeah, let's continue. So even if he does not score as many goals, even if he doesn't do whatever he needs to do, if he is more intelligent, then he can be molded quicker. Now that statement is very odd. So she would take Morata even if he doesn't score as many goals and even if he doesn't do whatever he needs to do. So you've given him instruction on what to do and he's not doing it and he's not scoring more goals, but you want to keep him around because you consider him the intelligent player and he can be molded quicker. Well, if he could be molded quicker, why would he not do whatever he needs to do or score as many goals? It's a baffling statement, if I'm honest with you. I don't understand what she means by that. I mean, is this woman, is she actually a football journalist? I mean, well, it seems she is. It sounds like, I don't know, like something one of my mates would say, and I'd pull him up on it and be like, what are you talking about, mate? Like, I don't know. I don't know, like, odd statement. You buy a striker to score goals and do what you ask him to do. And if he's not doing that, that's not acceptable, you know. You either get rid, you tell him fix up, you know, you do something about it. You don't say, oh, but I want to keep you because you're so intelligent. Yeah, very odd from her. Anyway, let's continue. So he can be molded quicker is what she thinks, because he's intelligent. All right. He can do what he needs to do, and Morata has Champions League experience. He was second top goal scorer for Real Madrid despite not starting, basically. He has done it at Juventus. He has done it at Real Madrid. Okay. Yes, he does have Champions League experience. She's correct there. That, you know, he's got Champions League experience, so yeah, that would work in his favour. He's done it at Juventus. Yeah, he done alright at Juventus. I wouldn't say like he shook the world when he was at Juventus. He scored 15 in 63 games. That's less than 1 in 4. I'm not gonna say like he's blown anyone away with that. The Italian league is not, especially then. It's gonna get better now because there's a bit more money in it. But Juventus are the best team in the Italian league. They were at that time, and he didn't bang the goals in. He didn't. I mean, there's players who played in England and have done quite well in England, but not set the world alight. But they've gone to Italy and smashed it up, like Edin Dzeko. So if Morata couldn't score more goals than Dzeko there, I mean, I wouldn't say he set the world alight there. 15 and 63 for the best team in the league. 15 and 63 when you're playing as the starting striker for the best team in the league, that's nothing to go crazy about. I reckon I could put Batshuayi of Chelsea in a Juventus's team. It's 63 games. I reckon he'll get me more goals than that. So I don't know. I'll say he did it at Juventus, but I wouldn't say like he killed it there. So yeah, that statement's a bit iffy for me. He done it at Real Madrid. Again, he did it somewhat at Real Madrid. Again, he didn't start for them. He played second fiddle. They considered Morata dispensable. That's why they sold him. He's a Spanish player. Real Madrid would prefer to side with Real Madrid, Barcelona. If they get a Spanish player whose levels, they would prefer to play that person. But if they don't think he's good enough, then obviously they'd consider getting rid of him. Now, being a Spanish player, you'd always get that very slight favoritism. And despite having that, he wasn't able to dislodge Benzema, who is considered a striker that is dislodgeable, if that's a word. Someone like Mbappe maybe could dislodge him. Given, with one season under his belt, bit more experience, he could maybe dislodge him. Morata wasn't able to do that. So Real Madrid, he did do well there, but he didn't kill it there. So again, iffy statement. But yeah, he did it in Champions League. Yes, I'll give you that one. He definitely did it in Champions League. What else has she said? All right. So he has the pace. He's intelligent. He links up play. He can be a counter-attacking threat. Okay. He has the pace. Okay, so when she's saying that, this is a direct comparison with Lukaku. So she's saying Morata, he has the pace, which is why she'll take him over Lukaku. Is Morata quicker than Lukaku? That's what she has to ask herself. No, in my opinion, Lukaku is actually quicker than Morata. It's difficult because they're not running side by side. They need to race. That's the only way we'd know for sure. But to say Morata has got the pace when you're doing a direct comparison with Lukaku is basically saying that Morata is quicker than Lukaku. And that, I don't think that's the case. I would say Lukaku is a bit quicker. He's quicker in my opinion, definitely actually. No doubt. Link up play, I wouldn't consider him amazing at link up play, but I think he's okay at it. I wouldn't say he's great at it. Okay, what else has she said? Sorry, I have to keep going back on the video because he can be a counter-attacking threat. He can be, but more than Lukaku? I don't know about that. I don't think so, to be honest. Again, it's a matter of opinion. For me, yes. Oh, I'm still quoting her, by the way. For me, yes, he doesn't perhaps have what Lukaku has, like complete drive and everything else. So she thinks Lukaku's got drive. Big, strong lad. He's got the drive. That's what she thinks Lukaku's got over Morata. But he is young. And what worries me about Lukaku is sometimes I'm not sure about his movement. If it's that intelligent. Okay. So, again, she's comparing Morata and Lukaku. So she's saying what he has over him, he is young. So Morata is young. Morata's young and Lukaku isn't. I did look this up actually on Wikipedia to check their ages. They're both 24 years old, okay? They're both 24 years old. I've got too many tabs open. I'm not going to open it up. But from what I remember, when I checked it, Morata's birthday is in October, and he was born in 1992, I believe. Which means he's 24 and he's almost going to be 25 in a couple months or so. Like 2-3 months. And Lukaku, I remember, was May 1993. So he's just turned 24. So Lukaku is younger than Morata. So what are you talking about when you're saying Morata is young? You're comparing, you're explaining why you would pick Morata over Lukaku. And you're saying Morata, he is young. But Lukaku is younger. So that doesn't make sense. That's not a reason to pick Morata over Lukaku. Or you can't use that as one of your reasons to say he is young. It's not like Lukaku's 29 years old. Lukaku is younger than Morata by a few months. So that statement, again, that statement is, again, it's nothing. It's a nothing statement. It's bullshit. Let's be honest. Very odd. Very odd. What worries her about Lukaku is sometimes she's not sure about his movement. If it's that intelligent. Now that's another odd one. I mean, Lukaku was one of the top scorers last season. I think he was second top goal scorer. Again, I'm going off. You guys comment, and if I'm going wrong anywhere, just let me know, because I'm going off top of my head. But he was definitely top 3 goal scorers in the Premiership. I think only Harry Kane was above him, but yeah, I could be slightly wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure, he was second top goal scorer. So to say his movement isn't that intelligent, it's not easy to listen. So many strikers have come to the Premier League and failed. I'm telling you, man, they failed. A lot of top strikers have come here and not really done it. Look at Falcao, man. I remember Fernando Morientes came here with a big reputation. He couldn't do it here. Could not do it at Liverpool. And he was a guy who did it at Real Madrid, funnily enough, and he couldn't do it at Liverpool. Who else is there? Falcao, Diego Forlan. He's another one. He couldn't do it. Well, I'm not going to say he was a flop, because he did a bit, and I think he had it in him if we were maybe a bit more patient. But he hit the ground running in La Liga, but in the Premier League, couldn't do that. It's a difficult league to play in. Difficult, I'm telling you. Even look at Canute. He did okay in the Premier League. He wasn't a big name, don't get me wrong, but he did okay in the Premier League. But went to La Liga and smashed it out of the park. Second top goal scorer and all of that. So, the Premier League is a different beast. Some guys can adapt to it, and some guys can't really adapt to it. So, there's that to think about. She's not thought about that. She's not thought about the fact that Lukaku is a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. He's proven that he can do it. Morata, he hasn't proven that he can do it in the Premier League. Now that is a big thing. That is actually the most important thing to take into account. More than anything else she's actually said. Who's proven and who isn't proven. Morata is not proven in the Premier League, so it's more of a gamble. It's more of a gamble. But yeah, so she thinks Lukaku's movement isn't that intelligent. Now, this is one of those comments that you can't measure it. It's just something that someone said, and you just have to you can't measure whether his movement is intelligent or not. You'd have to look at every single game and look at Morata's and study the movement. I don't know about that statement, if I'm honest. I think he's an intelligent mover, and goals tell you he's got intelligent movement. Goals is the biggest way of defining whether someone's movement or a striker's movement is intelligent, because if you have intelligent movement, you will get goals, and if you don't, you won't. It's as a striker, that's really what you're judged by. Anyway, let me move on. Right, back to what she said. Secondly, he has done so well so quickly. I feel it's a bit of a Rooney, where you think, what if he has sort of ruined his body, and how much more time does he have? And that's the last thing she said. I do not understand this. I do not understand this statement. This was not quoted on BBC, actually. This was not quoted, but it should have been quoted, because I just do not understand what she is talking about. Does she watch the Premier League? Seriously. I mean, he's done so well so quickly. What the is she on about? He has been in the Premier League for years, doing well. It's not so quickly. It's not like he just came out of the blue last season and had a good season. He's been doing it from Ferguson's time. Remember the last game when Ferguson was, we were winning 5-2. And, Lukaku comes out of nowhere and scores a hat-trick and makes it 5-5. And Fergie's like, this guy's he's ruined my last game. The fuck? It's like, what rock has she been hiding under to say something like that? He's done so well so quickly, so I feel it's a bit of a Rooney, where you think, what is he, where you think, what did she say? Where you think, what if he has sort of ruined his body, and how much more time does he have? I'm telling you, this woman should not be allowed on here saying some nonsense like that. What if he's ruined his body? He has not done it so quickly. He's done it over years. He's been doing this over years. He had his best season last year, but he's been doing it over years. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what she's talking about there. I don't think I'm going to say anything more about that. But anyway, so this is what this lady, this journalist, European football journalist, has been saying. Those statements, I don't know if she's got a lot of fans, supporters, whatever. I mean, if you are a big fan of hers, you rate her, whatever. I don't know much about her, if I'm honest. I'm judging her on this because this is my first encounter of this journalist. I'm not familiar with her work, to be honest. I'm going to judge her off this. But she's come out and said it, so obviously you've got to expect people to have opinions on what you said. I'm embarrassed, actually. Like, I just think her football knowledge or judgment of players seems strange. I mean, she can have her opinion on Morata and say she thinks he's better and whatnot. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But her reasoning, I think, is very much questionable. Very questionable. I'm going to try and let me look at like the history of their sort of stats and stuff and see what they've done in their careers. I mean, from what I can see online, Morata has, in his career, not including internationals, but he's played like 206 games and scored 70 goals, which isn't bad. It's not really, for a 24-year-old, you'd expect a bit more, but then again, he's been at Real Madrid. It's difficult. You can't break into the team. That's understandable. Lukaku couldn't break into the Chelsea team. He's done okay. I mean, 15 goals and 63 for Juve. I think he scored 25 in La Liga in 63. Champions League 11 and 35. He's done okay. 70 career goals. Lukaku, 326 games, 152 goals. That's like twice the amount of goals, not including internationals. Lukaku has done more. He's done a lot more. He's more proven. He scored more goals in his career. He's more experienced. He hasn't got the same experience at the highest level in European club competition. He has played in the Europa League. He scored a lot of goals there. Champions League qualifications, he's done that too. But yeah, he's got more experience. That works in his favour. Yeah, so you've got to really, I don't know, like, I can see why Lukaku is rated higher than Morata, because he has actually got more experience. He's got the experience in playing in the Premier League. And Morata has kind of been a sideman, to be honest. And the one time he wasn't, at Juve, he didn't exactly set the world alight. So I don't know. Lukaku is I don't know. For me, Lukaku edges it, to be honest, in terms of as a signing, but it's a matter of opinion. What else can we have a look at? Let me just see. What's I gonna look at? All right. So I'm gonna look a bit. I'm just gonna quickly touch on why she thinks that Morata is more intelligent. Some people kind of see this as, I'm gonna say it, man. I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna hide away from anything. I'm not gonna say, well, people have been saying, like, is this element of racism there, right? I don't think she's being racist, to be honest. I don't think she's being racist. But I do think Lukaku is the subject of negative stereotyping by her. I do think she's fallen into the I don't know, the kind of traps that many people fall into, where they consider a big, black, athletic, powerful man to not be intelligent. Whether it's football intelligent or otherwise, you know, he's considered a brute in society. That's how some people's perceptions are of the big black man, you know, for want of a better word, and it's totally wrong. It's quite sad. Whereas Morata, you know, there's the more streamlined Spanish stallion, you know, good looking lad. He, you know, he's the intelligent one, you know. It's quite worrying when you think about it, that statements like, you know, this kind of perception still exists. Romelu Lukaku is actually considered an extremely intelligent man. If you look online, you look at various charts and like top 10 lists of the smartest footballer, he's always in there. Many people mention his intelligence in inner circles. He's considered a very smart lad. If you actually see his interviews, you can see he's quite an eloquent guy. He's very good at sort of explaining himself, and he's also fluent in, I think it's 5 or 6 languages: French, Dutch, English, Portuguese, Spanish, and also a Congolese dialect. He's from Congo, so originally, his ancestors are, his family, whatever. So obviously he can speak the dialect they have, and he understands German. I mean, that's crazy. To know that many languages, you've got to have real intelligence, and that kind of level of intelligence, for it to not transcend onto the football pitch, would not make any sense. It would transcend into the football pitch, and I believe that's the reason why he's improved as a player, because he is so intelligent. He can be a sponge. He can soak up what's around him, learn from it, improve himself, better himself. And many coaches have discussed the fact that Lukaku constantly trains at the end of the session, wants to better himself. And yeah, I think it's doing him a disservice to say that to just brush him off as not intelligent as intelligent as Morata, to just kind of brush it off like that without looking into him and his career and his early life. It's quite sad, really. You know, he's really possibly been judged on the fact that he's a big black guy, and even the way that this journalist was saying, well, yeah, Morata doesn't have the drive, you know, she's kind of going back to then, you know, that physicality, like he's physically more impressive. It's also that, you know, that, I don't know, it's kind of like that idea that, you know, you play an African team and you say, oh, they're going to be athletic and powerful. They are almost like that's all they have, you know, the physicality. It's quite sad, man. It's quite sad. and from a football journalist to say what she said and to not really be able to really back up what she's saying is quite poor. Let me find her Twitter page quickly, because I read somewhere, or I heard from someone, that she had commented about this, because I think she'd been getting maybe people have been tweeting her and stuff. Alright, what's her comeback about this? Let me tell you what she said. My comments were made in an effort to highlight how good Morata is in his movement, how he understands the game, not academic intelligence. She didn't actually highlight how good his movement was. She didn't actually go into any depth or explain it in any way. If she did, I think people would respect her more, but she just dismissed Lukaku as not intelligent, didn't explain why she thinks that, said that she would pay 30 million more for Morata because he's the intelligent one, and gave reasons like he's young, although he is older than Lukaku, and kind of talked about his experience and whatnot in the Champions League, and not touched on the fact that Lukaku is the experienced one in the Premier League. In summary, I've been going on for a long time, but you know me, man, I just freestyle with it. I'm just saying what I'm saying, man. But in summary, it is concerning. It's to me, it's quite concerning, really, that a so-called expert can come up with such a basic analysis, assessment, explanation of why she would pick one player over another. It was very poor, in my opinion. Very poor. Not what I'd expect from a journalist. Probably what I expect from some sort of fanboy of Morata. I'm not going to dismiss Morata. I think he's a good player. I don't think he is a world beater, if I'm honest with you. And like Chelsea fans might think I'm a United fan. Don't get me wrong. I personally prefer Lukaku, but I'm not gonna say that that means it's a fact he's better. That's just my opinion. I'm not gonna dismiss Morata. He's obviously a good player. I personally don't think he's outstanding. I think he's good, but I don't think he's. Put it this way, I think Diego Costa is better than Morata, and I think Morata's a downgrade to Costa. But he is a good player, and I think he will score goals for Chelsea, and I think he'll do well. But I just don't think he's an elite striker. I don't think he's an elite striker. I don't think he'll ever be an elite striker, if I'm honest with you. And I don't consider him to be a super intelligent. He's not someone I look at and think, wow, look at the brain, look at the movement. Wow, he was actually questioned. I actually remember Euro 2016, and Ian Wright actually dismissed Morata for his poor movement and his poor decision making when it came to his movement. His running into the channels and not being a goal threat and stuff like that. You can actually find it online. You can find it, man. I remember Ian Wright. This is off the top of my head, but he definitely was very harsh on Morata in the Euro 2016s, and didn't consider him to be good with his movement. So football's a game of opinions at the end of the day. This journalist has hers, I've got mine, Ian Wright's got his. You'll have yours, and please put your comments in. I don't want to seem too biased, and I'm not getting at Morata, man, because it's not his fault that this kind of comparison has been made. It's not Lukaku's fault. It's the journalist, I think, didn't really eloquent herself correctly, and that's I'm not going to fall into the trap of getting at Morata. I rate him. I want him to. Well, I'm not going to say I want him to succeed. I'm a United fan, let's be honest, but I ain't hating on the guy, man. I think he's a decent striker, and I think he'll do all right for Chelsea. So yeah, in summary, I've talked enough. I've talked too much, actually. So let me know what you think. Please put your opinions down. What do you think about the notion that Lukaku is not intelligent. Morata is more intelligent. Is he worth £30 million more than Lukaku? Which one do you think is better? Try not to be too biased with it. It would be good to hear from people who are not United or Chelsea fans, because I know that there'll be no bias. You could argue that I have an element of bias, but I'll be honest with you. If we got Morata, I would still say I would have preferred Lukaku. I wanted Lukaku over Morata, but I'm actually happy we got Lukaku. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So let me know what you think about her statements. Do you think there's been an element of sort of stereotyping of Lukaku, and some might say racism? I don't really want to say the word, but you might think she's being racist by saying this. I'm not sure where she's from though. She's definitely of colour. I don't know where she's from, but that doesn't mean she can't be racist. You could be of colour and be racist. So, but yeah, I'm not pointing out there that she's racist, but let me know what you think. If you think that, say it in the comments and let me know. Give me your opinions, man. This is no holds bar. At the end of the day, she's a football journalist and she writes comments. She writes stories for a living, and so I'm not really, let's not hold back. This is what she does. She writes stories about people and gives opinions, and she might offend people when she writes stories and gives. So she should be able to take it on the chin as well. Like, she's out there now in the public. She said what she said. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna say what I'm saying, and we're gonna comment on her and say what we think. She should be able to take it on the chin, since she does this kind of thing to others. So let's get our opinions out there and say what we think. Is she being racist? Do you agree with her comments? Is she actually right? Is he the intelligent one? Does he have better movement? Is he younger than Lukaku? Is he more experienced? Is the Champions League experience a big deal? Yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Anyway, that's all for today. I've gone on too long, but signing out. Face the red. Peace.